tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh yeah. Let's just sink in on this song right now. Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. I am Tom Connolly. Calm down, everybody. I'm not Dean. I do kind of look like I'm dressed, but I'm not Jensen Ackles. Sorry to disappoint everybody.
But you are Dean tonight.
Yes. Sitting next to me, Katie Campbell. How you doing, Katie?
Hello, I am good.
Sitting next to her, Lyndsey Wegner. How you doing, Lyndsey?
Hi guys, I'm really good at staring at these cupcakes right in front of me. They're my favorite things in the world.
We got some cupcakes. We had some bacon
Celebration
cheeseburgers.
of the 200th
Yes.
episode. Yeah, we had bacon cheeseburgers purely in honor of Dean and the lovely
Mikaela Phillips.
Thank you. Hey guys, how's it going?
So guys, 200th episode. First, I just want to say, like, congratulations to, you know, the writers, crew, cast. In today's, TV world, there's not many shows that get to 200 episodes anymore. I mean, a show's lucky if it gets to 3 or 4 episodes
nowadays
anymore.
Before it gets canceled.
Before it gets canceled.
Yep.
So, 10 seasons, 200 episodes.
It's amazing.
It is.
Congrats, guys.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, the episode was fan fiction.
Yay.
So what did you guys think overall reactions to this episode?
I loved it. It was hilarious. It was amazing, and it was ridiculously amazing, if that makes sense.
It
makes
was.
sense. Yeah.
I completely 100% agree with you, Katie. I thought the episode, this has actually been one of my favorite episodes to watch. And I was a little bit leery because usually when the musical episodes for TV shows come out, like they did with Grey's Anatomy and a bunch of other shows, they're really bad. Like the fans end up hating them, and I don't know how the fans are going to view this, but I loved it. I had asked Katie, because Katie had watched the episode before we all got to watch the episode together. I had asked if Sam and Dean were going to sing, and she said no, which I was a little bit sad about. But it all worked really, really well together. Brilliant writing, super duper funny and comical.
It was great, and yeah, I think it was well received with the fans. I mean, obviously, East Coast views before us, and it was trending on Twitter. So Supernatural 200 episodes was trending. So I definitely think it was a crowd pleaser, and I know we loved it.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the #1 trend on Twitter.
Yeah,
earlier
it
tonight.
was.
So, or #1. It may have
Like
been
United
world
States,
trend.
yeah.
No, it may have been worldwide.
Was it worldwide?
I have to check.
Whoa.
Somebody tweeted that out.
We
Already.
all just tweeted it, so
So.
make sure to tweet us back,
Supernatural.
y'all. Let us know what you thought.
Well,
Yeah.
they have funny episodes here and there throughout the season, so like the fans love that. So bringing the 200th episode being all about that and funny and dedicated to the fans is, it's gonna be loved.
Yes, yeah, and I think as Lyndsey was saying, sometimes the musical ones you're just like, what are they doing with this? and this, I thought, it really was. This is my favorite episode of the season so far, and this has got to be one of my probably top 5 favorite episodes of the of all the 200, because it showed you little things from the past, like things you may not have remembered, like the amulet, which I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, okay, now I remember it. And I was like, oh, that kind of stuff, and the girl that was playing Bobby was funny,
With the idiots.
yes, yeah, with the girl that's playing Cass, like it was just perfect. I think it was for them to give a episode to the fans, it had everything I think the fans wanted in it. And, we had, surprise guests at the end, which we'll get to, which I don't know what that really means. Well, actually, there was two surprise things that we'll talk about later that I was like, wow, I can't believe they brought that up in this episode, but maybe it will lead to something down the future. But yeah, so they're at a all girls. I say all ghouls, all girl.
I mean, there was a ghost. There you go.
All girls school. Marie, was the writer of this supernatural play that she got off of the Chuck, or was it the? No, I can't think of his name.
Carver
Edlund, his books, and then apparently she you know, made the ending a little different, which we didn't get to see the
full
ending, which I really wish. Like, I would have sat through this play. If they really wrote this, I would sit there and I would pay money to go see this.
I would
It was
too.
good.
It was
Yeah.
really. I liked the music, and Tom was saying they're actually going to put the music up. You said
I think it's. I saw a
going up
tweet
on
earlier.
iTunes?
That, yeah,
Oh, really?
tomorrow.
That's cool.
so. Well, if you really like the music as much as we all did, you can get it on iTunes. Who said that? Was it the writer? Or
I think one of the writers.
One of the writers tweeted
out.
it out.
I think it was definitely very well put together, like you're saying. Like, we saw things from the past, and we've seen things with every character nearly, like Cass, Bobby, and we even see, like, the beginning episode of Supernatural with what happens with the demon, and Sam is a little boy or baby, technically. I think that was so funny, though, too, with that song. He's like, Dean, I'm the older brother. Oh, yeah, it was classic. They definitely tied, I think, it in well, like, all of the seasons and the storylines.
Yeah.
It was really funny to see their initial reaction of them singing and actually playing them. It was so hilarious.
Yeah, like how the first thing Dean said, he's like, "There's no singing
Yeah.
in Supernatural."
And if there was, it'd be classic rock.
Yeah. And they're like, well, we have Carry On Our Wayward Son in the second act, so, you know.
It was very Glee inspired.
Yeah.
Carry On Our Wayward Son, but
It was.
they enjoyed it.
It was good. I
The
thought it was a
guys
good version of
enjoyed
it.
it too. So
Yeah. But yeah, so, you know, they find this case. They go to this school. Teacher gets missing. I wrote down that she got abducted by Groot. I don't know if you guys seen Guardians of the Galaxy, but he was the tree guy. I just thought it was funny. It was like, this, you know, it just kind of looked like his arms like coming out to take this teacher, kidnapper.
Right, Miss Chandler.
Yes. And, you know, they find out that the musical is happening, and it was great how they walked in and they didn't see the sign getting put up, but it gets put up right after they walk through the door. And we talked about their reaction to it was just priceless. And Dean was just not happy with it at all.
From the get-go, he
Yes.
was all against it.
No, and it was funny because Sam kind of liked it, but then saw Dean's reaction to him liking it and was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, and apparently we found out that Sam was in the musicals in high school,
Right.
but then he did the tech. Yeah.
Wolverine.
Yes.
Actually, you know what I thought was really interesting about that is I was seeing Jared's tweets earlier before we watched, and he actually tweeted that apparently that storyline's kind of true to him, that he actually did do some tech work when he was young and like
awesome.
that high school age. So yeah, so it's kind of cool. I think they put that in the storyline, and they kind of gave him a little bit of crap for it, you know. And he's like, how do you think Hugh Jackman got cast from Oklahoma?
How it got his start. Yeah.
Well, you could see that he does enjoy it. His character, you know, when he was talking to the stage manager, he was like, "Well, when I was doing tech, she didn't
We only
even
had
care."
2 CD
Yeah.
things,
Yeah. And then he was like messing with the lights and everything
Oh
and
my
moving
gosh.
everything around as they were, you know, trying to practice on stage. So Dean goes with Marie and, you know, tries to find anything that's, you know, what's making all these things happen. And I thought it was so funny how he's like, "Oh, I'll tell you exactly what happened," and just kind of lays out the last couple seasons to her, and she just laughs in his face and was like, "That's the worst fan fiction I've ever heard." And I thought it was just great that they could, you know, they're gonna make fun of them. Like, this is what the show has been.
Yeah.
But they're gonna be like, "Oh no, we're gonna make fun of ourselves," in the same way of being like, "Oh no, this is the worst thing I've ever heard." And I thought it was funny where, she was talking about the BM scene, and they're like,
Yeah.
bowel movement.
Both of them thought
The
Yeah.
boy melodrama, right?
Yeah, boy
The
melodrama. Yes, between Sam and Dean, and it was just funny how Dean was just, why are they standing so close together? Like,
Yeah.
you know, he's like, "Hey, you two separate. Like, we're not
subtext.
that close."
The subtext,
Yes.
you've got to read between the subtext,
Yes.
and then we hear about Destiel and
Oh, I was just about to
Yeah.
mention that. That was another great part. They're like, Destiel. Do we ship it? Which is really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's great they put something in that actual fans out there do ship. Like, I see so many, like, you see, like, fan arts for Supernatural, there's, like, a ton. But Destiel is one of the main ones. So I thought it was really cool that they put that into the storyline as well.
And then Sam was trying to make up his own.
That's true.
when
He
they
was
were
like,
leaving.
Sam Teal,
Yeah.
Sam Steele.
And then there was a Cass Dean.
Yes,
Right. And he's
yeah.
he's like, shh. Dean was just like, not going to have it.
He was like, "Shut it, get in the car, we're getting out of here." But yeah, so we find out, you know, another girl, you know, so the teacher got abducted. So anybody who's trying to stop this play keeps getting abducted. They think it's a tulpa, which is something, you know, created by energy. But then they find out that it's not. It's a Calliope, yes, which is like the muse, and so it's protects the author of the play, but then will eat the author at the end once it is fulfilled, and Dean not being too happy about it's like, well, I guess the show has to go on. Yeah. So the play starts, and I mean, I really thought the music was really good.
Yeah.
For me being, a guy, not, I'm not a huge fan of musicals, but I was like, wow, this is really, like, it was entertaining to me the whole time. What did you guys think of the music?
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked the storytelling, the way that they worded it, too.
Yeah.
The lyrics in the song, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
It was just really, really well written and catchy.
Very catchy.
Like, I feel like it's something that if I had literally played on my CD player, I'd be like, oh my gosh. I would actually find myself listening to it and singing it out loud, and people would be like, what are you singing? Well, just the fan fiction from Supernatural, because I'm a nerd.
No, I'm a fan.
I'm a fan, not a nerd. It's a good thing to be a nerd. I'm happy and proud to be a nerd.
But no, I definitely agree with everything you guys said. It was super catchy, and when Dean was like bobbing his head along, I was doing the exact same thing. I was like, just getting into it.
He got into it after the whole...
He did.
He did.
By the end of it, he liked it.
Yeah, so, they find out that they just keep going, this was not really about, it was just more about the musical. It didn't really push the storylines forward this week's episode, which I was fine with. I was like, okay, I can take a break from, all that stuff just to, have a fun episode, which we haven't had in a while. So,
I'll tell you what it did do for the storyline. It brought the brothers together at the end, that they were going to stick it out and continue down the road.
Yep.
They weren't meant to be cooped up at home, but they were meant to be out doing this stuff. That's what they realized. And so definitely, I agree with you, Katie. It may not have completely taken us 5 steps forward and gotten us anywhere, but we created a new bond with Sam and Dean, strengthened their bond and stuff, and we had fun in the process. And I think sometimes with the as Travis used to say, the monster of the week stories, it's kind of like, we want to get on with the story, but this was such a good placement for it with what's been going on with Sam and Dean being a demon, that I felt like it was perfect timing, and I absolutely welcomed it with open arms.
Yeah, I wrote down the line that they said was, it should just be the two of us against the world. And they're like, yeah, that's what we need to be doing. So I thought it was a good way to get them back on the same page, and just be together, which is good.
I liked Dean, was it Dean? Yeah, I liked Dean's pep talk with No Day But Today, because that's from Rent, and that's one of my favorite lines from the movie and from the song, and so that was just like a little nod, and they said, wasn't that from Rent? Isn't that a little too soon? No, we're just letting it go. That was one of my favorite parts of the whole show. I wish they would have kind of almost brought more musical. I mean, they did. They talked about Wicked and Maggie.
Floyd.
Yeah, John Floyd. Yeah, and Maggie had said we should have just done The Outsiders, and so they definitely brought other references in, but I would have welcomed, being a musical theater person, I would have welcomed so many more.
And I like that when they all he's like, all right, they all put their hands in, and you think they're going to be like, yeah, Supernatural, and they're like, Ghost Facers. And you're like, I know, just like, I can't believe they just said that. They're like, we hate those guys. But yeah, so the musical went off. They're trying to capture the scarecrow that was abducting everyone. And I thought it was funny when they went to Dean went to see the scarecrow that they made, and she's like, it's terrifying, it's so scary, and it was like the crappiest scarecrow ever.
It was bad.
Yeah,
that was not scary.
No.
Scary to her.
I guess so, yeah.
What a fear from childhood.
Yeah. But I don't know, that was a bad scare.
All right, if you're afraid of spiders and somebody makes a giant spider, that's okay. See,
But if it looked like that, I wouldn't be that scared of it, though, right?
I mean, I used to be scared of spiders, but I'm kind of just now like I run with it. Like, I know, like from Australia, we have like huntsman spiders that are like this big, like size of your dinner plate. So I'm kind of like, you know what? I've grown up with it. I can handle it.
You have a small dinner plate.
Girlfriend, wow, yeah. I mean,
Google it, you guys will be freaked out. They're hairy, they're disgusting, and they're like a household spider sometimes. So. Not fun.
Gotcha.
I would
Not
never
fun.
be able to live there.
We actually have one here. No, I'm joking.
Would you like to see it?
Never. I'll tell you what, though, the scarecrow from a couple seasons ago, that was scary.
I think the scarecrow that was the
boogeyman
but
guy?
in this was, I think, scary. I
Was
thought
creepy.
that was a
Yeah,
scary
yeah.
looking
And he had like
scarecrow.
the vine arms, or like not even arms. They were just like vines. They weren't
Yeah.
even hands.
Yeah.
That
It was
was
more like a tree,
creepy.
which is weird.
Yeah,
But-
I thought it would be something like that because they've done storylines like that where you see it in other kind of supernatural like horror movies or whatever. But I thought it would be like the tree who was like capturing the people, but then we
Yeah.
saw it was the Calliope.
Yeah. So, I mean, the play goes, starts, and they're trying to capture. They needed the scarecrow to show itself so they could, get to it.
Right.
And as Dean's on one side of the stage, Sam's on the other. Dean sees the scarecrow and he's like pointing to Sam like behind her, and Sam's like, "Yeah, good. Like this is all good." Like, and then
loved that.
yeah, and by the time he turns around, it captures him, and
Somehow
just
magically disappears to the basement.
yeah, like he
Yeah.
morphed into like the background.
Through a tree.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. It did go through the
Well,
tree.
technically
Okay.
too, there was like two parts of it because it was like the woman side of it, of being the Calliope, and then there was like the scarecrow kind of side of it. Because like we saw that there was like it was half of it was like down there in the basement, and then half of it was fighting with Dean. That makes
Yeah.
me think there was like kind of two parts of it.
Well, I couldn't tell if the scarecrow was just something that
Like
know,
she like could
Imagine.
control.
Manifested.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
But it was kind
Either
of
way, yeah.
I mean, they were connected, which we find out. And I thought it was great how at the beginning of the play, she was like, "It could get like Gallagher in here, so use your ponchos." And they showed them guy. He kind of had glasses on. I thought they kind of showed him. I was like, "Is that guy gonna have something to do with it?" Like he was kind of sitting in the front. The guy that got up at the end and was like clapping. I was like, "Is that guy is he part of this thing?" I just thought it was a weird kind of cutaway at first.
Oh, him putting it on?
Poncho.
That,
on.
but also when he first went to his seat, they showed him too, and I just thought it was a weird shot. I thought maybe he was gonna have something to do with it, but he didn't, obviously. I thought it was just one of those kind of things they were throwing in there to show like an extra person,
Right.
in attendance.
And then you go back to it and you're like, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
You're like,
it.
oh, that guy's there already.
I love that he actually put the poncho on. Though.
Yes. He was the only smart one that did, I think. So as the play goes on, Marie finally gets confronted by the scarecrow. We find Sam in the basement with Maggie and the
Miss
teacher,
Chandler, yeah.
Miss Chandler. And we see I can't even say the name of it. The
Calliope.
Calliope. I'm like going blank on it. And she said, Sam asked her why this story, and she's like, well, it has everything. It has like
Resurrection.
yeah,
death.
love,
Redemption. Yeah.
everything, captured into one story. And I thought, for a, monster, they got rid of this thing really fast in this episode. I mean, he had some help from the girls in the basement to knock her out and, stab her.
But no struggle.
No, it was really pretty simple for them to get rid of. So as he stabbed her, Marie stabbed the scarecrow, and they both kind of just exploded into blue paint.
Blue ooze.
It was
Yeah.
like purple too.
I love that it was both Sam,
Oh, it was, yeah.
and I just thought of something with last episode, Sam actually being the one to dagger the
The girl.
The vampires.
the werewolves.
Or werewolves,
the
yeah,
two
werewolves,
boy
yes.
werewolves, not Dean. Dean still hasn't killed. So there's another example of that. When
Yep.
there's going to cause problems, I'm sure, in the future with the demon coming out
Right.
when he does.
That's really good.
So-
I'm actually glad you really mentioned that, Katie,
Yeah.
because I completely didn't really take notice of that. But when you've brought it up now, I'm like, yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and I remember him, at the end he was like, oh, good job, Sammy. He said
Yeah.
it to Marie when she was standing there. But I didn't even think that it was him
both the
killing,
Sams.
killing both of them.
It makes me wonder now how long it will be till we see Dean kill
Yeah,
again.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, next week it doesn't look like he's going to be killing, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So then, the final, that's intermission. The crowd very happy. The crowd loved it.
Crowd loved getting splashed by this blue ooze.
Yes.
I
So-
love their faces.
They all were, it was shock and then appreciation
applause.
for the art
Yep.
and applause and excitement for
Yeah.
Act 2.
It's not going to happen in any other play.
No.
I mean, they better, find some blue ooze to spray on the audience for the next show. And then, they watch the BM scene again, and Sam's like, "What is that?" Like, and it's I love how they make fun of themselves, because that is how almost every episode ends, with them in the car, or them, standing next to the car, drinking a beer, like just hanging out, having that talk. And it was just a great way to end the play. Then we got the, Carry On a Wayward Son, which I thought was a really good version of it.
Great.
To have in the show.
It was really good.
Mm-hmm. And I like it because it was the musical. It was a twist on it, which was good. It wasn't just a flat out song. And one thing I wanted to bring up, and in the play, there's a character on stage, and they're like, "Who is that?" And they're like, "Oh, that's Adam, John Winchester's other son, that's still stuck in hell. They're in the cage with Lucifer." And they just kind of go, "Oh, all right," and don't really say anything about it.
Yeah.
But to me, I think I'm hoping that's like a nod from the writers, letting us know that they're gonna go find him.
That's coming back. That's what I thought too. Thought the same exact thing, Tom.
Because to me, it's like, why would you put that character in there?
Bring it up.
And not, I mean, he's been in there for 5 seasons now. It's been season 5 he went in there.
They can't just leave him.
No, they can't. He is their brother. So, I really hope they bring that up, because I know a lot of fans have wanted to see where he is. I mean, obviously we know where he is, but what has been happening to him over this time. So I think it'll be a really cool storyline to bring up this season.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, fans are talking about it. I think we even had it in some of our predictions that might come into play. That it's Adam, right?
Yeah, Adam.
Adam might come back into the storyline. And I think it'd be great if it did. I don't see any problem with what would happen if he did. It could even be, I know we talked about in a few of the past episodes that just aired, that trying to strike up a deal with like Crowley, or if there's going to be that Crowley and Cass alliance, and there's still Metatron. So maybe Adam will come into maybe one of those storylines that we'll see coming up.
And also, Dean does still have that mark.
That's true.
And he could pass it to a brother in Kane.
That's good.
And Adam,
That is juicy.
So that could, I mean, I don't know if Adam would willingly take it, but I mean, if he's been tortured for who knows how long he's been down there,
maybe that would be his key out.
Yeah.
You get your freedom, but you gotta hold this burden of having the mark of Cain.
Wow,
that's not.
Because he's already in hell. He's in the cage, so he's basically in hell.
Yeah.
Right.
Why not become a knight of hell?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that'd be a good deal for me.
You guys, if you were in Adam's position.
Yeah, I'd be like, give me that mark. I'll go kill people. Like, he's already being tortured, so it's got to be better.
Well, we also don't know what has happened in his storyline.
Yeah.
Some things could have changed.
What if he's dead and we just think he's alive? Like, we literally, we don't know.
That'd be a letdown.
It kind of would, but I don't know, anything can happen.
If they go to find him and then he's gone, and he's dead, I'd be let down. I think the fans would be let down, because he is kind of a pivotal character in this world. I know it's just the two of them, but he is their brother, so he is related to them. He is family. So and then at the very end, we see Marie, getting congratulated on the play, and someone walks in, and it's someone from the publisher. And she goes up and she asks him how it was, and we see it's Carver, which the last time I remember seeing him, he disappeared and has not been heard of since. And I think I'm trying to remember exactly what season that was. Was it 5?
Was the last time we saw him the episode where they go to his house and he's ridden?
Yes.
And it start coming true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a few seasons ago.
Yeah, it was a couple seasons ago.
I literally just saw that episode I don't know, 2 weeks ago. I watched Supernatural
But
on Netflix.
TV.
Even on Netflix. I'll go back and watch season 1 or season 2. I don't know, it's kind of cool to watch it that far back. But I definitely, I think it was that episode that long ago.
Yeah.
Chuck Shirley.
Yes.
I knew it was going to be him.
You just knew it?
I just knew it. Did you guys think?
I thought it was going to be Cass for some reason. I don't know why.
I thought at first it was going to be I don't know why I thought this, but because I felt like it was so woman-centric, female-centric, that it was going to be the girl we just saw a couple episodes ago with the guy on the ceiling, the dead people on the ceiling. So I thought she was going to come in, and this was going to be continuing the story for round 2 of Supernatural, the musical.
Yeah. That's a good guess.
Want a musical every episode.
I do.
Hey, we
You
get
can
good.
write your own fan fiction.
We get good
There
songs
you
at the
go.
beginning of the episode. There's always a good song. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was surprised that he was in this episode. I don't know what that means for him either. I mean, we saw kind of Adam wasn't really there, but he was, and now Carver is kind of back. Maybe we haven't seen him. I don't know. It's so up in
Question
the
mark.
air. Yes, lots of question marks
Lots of
at the end of this
question mark.
episode. But I don't know. What do you guys think of him being back? Do you think he's back for good? Or do you think it was just kind of a one-off? And
It's hard to say.
I'm not sure. I would like to see him, come back more, but I think that it could have just been this episode because she loved the writing and she said he stopped writing after, this amount of time. And I mean, that was her idol. So it would be amazing to meet him. And he came at the end, he took the ticket, he gave her his opinion. So I could see where it would only be one episode, but I think it would be interesting to see him more.
I definitely agree. It'd be cool to see him in another episode or two. I think my idea would be like how they would bring him into the story would be because what he writes basically comes true. Is if that would help somehow, like with their problems with the Michael Caine, like could he write something for Sam and Dean that could get them out of their messes and
Kind of
everything.
like what Metatron was doing last season
Yep.
and writing kind of what was happening throughout the season. That would be interesting to see.
I think it would be cool to bring him in that way.
Maybe
If they did.
like that.
Maybe have him come back in towards the end of his season and find out that what he was writing was happening. Some
Yeah.
tie-in back.
yeah, like how's he been
Right.
writing this whole? Like if
Yeah,
he
has
has
he
been
been
writing
writing at the same
all
time?
of this,
Yeah.
I mean that would be a cool way to bring him
That'd
back.
be good.
Will he take her, if that is the case, will he take her interpretation on it with the robots and the space? And
I hope not.
I almost really hope that the end of the show, whenever the show ends, they do some quick flash to the future,
gosh.
and there's like robots and aliens, and they're just like fighting them, and he's like, "Sammy, what are we gonna do?" And then it just cuts, and that's the end of the show for good. I think it'd be very funny to now that we have this her interpretation of it.
I think
Right.
it'd be great on the blooper reel.
what about,
Yeah.
she said Dean turned into a woman for
Oh
Yes.
my gosh. I was like, that cannot happen. I'm glad it didn't.
It was only what did you say? Only for a few
few
scenes.
scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely, one point I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you guys thought of this at all, but because this was basically all based on fan fiction, and it was her idea and her interpretation of Supernatural. I was curious as to whether if the writers got the idea for this based on any fan fiction they've actually read of Supernatural, and that's where they bring in like the robots and the stuff like that, space-wise, or if they just kind of came up with it. Because I know there's like a ton of fan fiction. There's a ton of fan fiction not just for Supernatural, but for like a ton of other shows or movies. So I kind of was just wondering if it's something they've read and they were like, yeah, we'll bring that idea into it, or if they just kind of ran wild with it.
I think it might be a mixture of both, especially with, like you said, there's a lot of fans that are die-hard Das fans, so they wrote that in, and then this is a gift to the fans. So it's a little bit of both, I think.
Right. I'm sure they like drew some inspiration from it or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was kind of just curious what you guys thought.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think they probably, I wouldn't be surprised if they did read some of it, just to see, what the fans, what the super hardcore fans really love about it, or what they would like to see. And then I think, I think the alien, at least me personally, I think the aliens are just something where they're like, let's just throw this in because it's just that out there and ridiculous that, they're fighting robots and aliens in the end.
I'm sure too, but the guys, Sam and Dean, seeing this kind of going on, this is probably what they've thought about. If they read any of the fan fiction stuff, this is how they genuinely would react to it. So the responses that they probably had to have been a lot of improv almost, because they can just kind of go with it and be like, all right guys, you're going to walk into this and they're going to be doing something and we just want to get like your reaction shots on it, because it's just kind of crazy to think of all these random things that they're doing. And I agree with you. I think that they definitely took from what people have written, checked out message boards and stuff like that, and maybe caught some of the main points just to kind of see, and then played around with what worked and put it into this notion that it's this play.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, I'm definitely going to watch this episode at least later this week again, just because I feel like I want to go back and see it again, just to kind of take it all in. And as I was trying to just I think I was trying to watch too much of it, and like every time they cut to the audience, I was trying to see like, is that supposed to be somebody?
You were
Is that-
totally like analyzing.
Yeah, because I mean, you think 200 episode, they may throw little things in there.
For you to see.
Well, they did mention that they were bringing back characters from the past, but I guess it was in the sense of
The play.
Yeah,
Right.
the characters
Yeah,
that people were playing
like the
in the
Bobby
actual
and-
musical.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just thought it was. I just kept watching like the audience being like, is that supposed to be somebody? Is that supposed to, But I don't think it was.
No, that's good. You had your eye out. That's good.
But I mean, if anybody at home watching now or listening, if they think that they may have seen something that we didn't talk about or that they noticed, definitely write us comments below. Let us know about that, and give us 5-star rating on iTunes too, and give us a like on this page.
Just give
too.
us everything great.
Yeah, money, everything, whatever you want to give us now. It's okay.
We may send you a cupcake.
Yes.
You know what? We
Yeah.
have
We
quite a lot. I mean,
we-
I could eat those 4 right now. They're just tempting us, you guys.
Yeah, we have extra. So if you really want a cupcake, you leave a comment below.
Because flattery will get you everywhere.
Yes, exactly.
And cupcakes.
Yes. But so at least for next week's show, it looks like it's like a Clue episode, which I think is going to be really fun.
I'm so excited for that.
I don't think there's an episode I'm never not excited for. Like I sit here every week and I'm like, I'm excited. I don't know what's happening, what we're gonna see, but I'm always excited to see.
And once again, it may not completely pull us totally forward in what's happening with the storyline, but I feel like this is another really fun episode for them and very similar to the farcical, comedic feeling we had in this one. It's going to be funny. I mean, Clue is funny if any of you have seen the movie with Eileen Brennan and Martin Mull and all these amazing actors and stuff. I mean, that was a hilarious movie. So if they can do something even
Remotely.
close to that, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be really good, really funny. And as much as like I do kind of want the story to progress, when they do have these episodes, they do become my favorite, like some of my favorite episodes. So I'm like, oh, it's fine. That's fine. I don't mind that. I don't mind this one or that one. So I think you need it, at least
To break it up.
4 or 5 each season of
it's
those kind of
good, yeah.
episodes.
It has me thinking now of like other episodes. Like I was just kind of thinking like, because it was a quirky episode and it was funny. I was just curious, have they ever done a supernatural like cartoon of the show? Because I know they've done like the sitcoms where like they're stuck in the TV with the trickster, and I just kind of watched that also recently. Guilty. But yeah, I don't know if they've ever done like a cartoon kind of version of it. I think that would be hilarious.
I don't know if in that episode with the trickster, if they
Okay.
did, they may have. I'd have to go back
I
and
don't
watch
think it was cartoon though.
No.
I just kind of think it would be cool to see like a little cartoon Sam and Dean and like a little cast with the wings, and I don't know. It just had me thinking of it because of this episode.
Yeah. If you haven't seen that, definitely go back and watch that episode because that's one of the best episodes.
It's so funny.
It's really funny. It's kind of like I can't think of the name of the movie. I'll forget it now. there's a movie with John Ritter where he's stuck in a TV, and I don't know. It's an older movie.
Okay.
It's a funny movie.
Honey,
It's
We
kind of like
Shrunk
that.
Ourselves?
No.
It's
That's
like
Rick
Groundhog
Moranis.
Day.
But so I think that's do we have any predictions?
Predictions.
Not that.
Now, your AFTERBUZZ predictions.
Not that much really progressed this episode, besides at least bringing them back together.
Yeah. I'm really excited for the murder mystery episode next week. I'm not really sure if this stuff is going to be in next week's episode, but I really want to see more of who that lady is, the redhead at the end of the episode a few episodes ago. And with Cole, I don't think he's gone. I still think he's coming back.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Dean to crack. I'm waiting for something to break in this Demon Dean / hybrid human Dean, which isn't, I don't think, going to happen anytime soon. I think they're going to kind of keep us waiting for that moment. Love the idea of giving the mark to Adam. Think that's brilliant. But I'm looking forward to seeing Dean crack, and I feel like that's going to happen.
I really do think he might crack when he kills for the first time. And that'll be the first showing of the Dean, or the demon.
That's a good idea. I like that.
I don't really have any predictions. I want to have one. I know. Don't be on a roll. No.
Wait, let us talk more. Then she'll come up with one. She'll be like, oh, wait, and now I have this. That always happens.
It
That
might
happens.
happen. That's true. Keep talking.
I'm trying to think. Do I have... I'm in the same way of like, I do agree with you. I think when he finally cracks, I think this is what, episode 5? this season.
Yeah.
So I think, episode 13, 12, they kind of, will be that
They can get to that.
mid-season break. So I think maybe that episode will be the one where kind of everything falls apart on them, and then they have the rest of the season to kind of piece it back together, or, do what they need to do. Because we only saw Sam and Dean in this episode. No Cass, no Crowley, nobody else. So, and it seems like from what they were talking about at the end, it's like, oh, just the two of us against the world. So are they even going to be calling on Cass to come help them?
I know, we wanted Cass and Hannah to be together for a little bit. We saw something there.
Well,
but
I guess they're all together.
I think it'll come back to it.
They'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think they need to get to the core of being Sam and Dean without anybody else with them.
Which is kind of, I guess, the path they're leading us down now.
Yeah.
Which I think is what's good about these episodes is, they're not action-packed. They're kind of more fun, enjoyable for us. But like we said, it needs it. And also, it kind of, it's getting them back-centered, getting them back together, building that relationship of him not being a demon now.
Yeah.
And I just got an honorable mention to the opening scene of Dean with the Impala. It was great to see him working on it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good.
It was great to see that.
That was wonderful.
Lyndsey wants more scenes like
Is
that.
it hot in here or is it just me?
And I thought it was, Dean saying, like, I need to be on the road. I need to be hunting. Like, that's what I need to do to feel normal.
Yeah.
Instead, I can't just go on vacation and hang out in hotels.
I love how they had the comparison, too, in the end, to the conversation the play had with Dean and Sam and to real Dean and Sam. And he was like, shh, shh, like, to listen. Because it kind of was saying the exact same thing that he was saying. Like, it's us two on the road and all that. I really liked the comparison they had there.
Yeah, and I liked where Dean did tell her that it was educational to watch the play. And they do a lot of stuff that's, like, leads to, like, Back to the Future, and I feel like that was kind of like a weird line because they say that in Back to the Future he's like, it was educational, like being here, seeing all this stuff. So I thought it was a cool little tie-in to, at least for me, to that kind of stuff. And I did like, sorry, one more thing, when she said, to Sam, if you cut your hair,
Oh my gosh,
you could really be Dean.
Great Dean.
I just thought that was a great line.
Well, and I liked when he at the end introduced himself, or she calls him Dean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she knows that it's him.
And them cracking up when they did tell them, like, I'm Sam and then Dean, like, you got to be kidding me. They're like, no, you're really not them. But I think that kind of wraps us up for this episode.
It does. But we have some news.
Yes, this Saturday.
AfterBuzz TV news.
This Saturday, we are going to Supernatural Con.
Yay!
Here in Burbank. So it should be fun. We're going to try to get some interviews with some of the cast. So once we get those, we will be putting them up online.
Yep.
On AfterBuzz. We'll be tweeting them all out. We'll be tweeting
Definitely.
pictures this weekend. If anybody out there is going to be there, tweet us, let us know. We'd love to, maybe get some interviews with some of the fans.
Yeah, come say hey.
Yeah.
Come say hi to us, please.
Yes.
So
definitely.
Saturday.
Yes. So
This Saturday.
Saturday we will be there. So that's our big news of the week. 200th episode. We're going to
Yep.
Supernatural Con. All right. And we got cupcakes.
Can we eat them?
Not yet. No, I mean, if you want to eat them now.
Soon.
Well, here, you say who you are and where we can find you, and then you can have cupcakes.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Then you're
Okay.
dismissed.
You guys, you can find me on my website at bymickey.com. That's bymiki.com. All my social media links are there. Happy 200 episodes, Supernatural, Jared, Jensen, all the cast, the crew, the writers. Love you. Thank you for a great show.
What she said. And I'm Lyndsey Wegner. You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lyndsey Wegner or my blog, lyndseywegner.blogspot.com. Speaking of musicals, you all need to come see Les Mis. They're Natty A's in for Creating Arts Studios. It's amazing. We had a sold out weekend. The show was so good. My mom was here visiting. She loved it. It's great. Anyone that lives in Los Angeles area, get tickets. You can get a promo code for Les Mis, all one word, big letters, 50% off. So anyway, come see the show. We'll love to see y'all there.
You can find me on Twitter at Katie Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's, and Instagram at KatieCampbell13.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at TomConnolly. Tomorrow night, 10 o'clock for main event. This Saturday, we'll be at Supernatural Con. So tweet us, and we will see you guys next week for episode 201.
Happy 201.
Wow.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.